Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Christian. If it's your first time seeing me, go ahead and like this video because I know you're gonna like it already. Subscribe and turn on those post notifications so you never miss another upload. And if you already are subscribed, hey babies, welcome back. So today guys, we are going to be talking all things anxiety and intuition. So this is probably a question that I get a million times a day, a second. This is probably one of the things that I get asked about the most often. How do I tell the difference between my anxiety and my intuition? How do I even start that process? So we're gonna go ahead and get right into it, guys. So of course, I have to announce that I just dropped the first edition to my mini ebook series. And of course, it is all about reconnecting with your intuition. So in the ebook, I'm going to have the cover here so you guys can see it. In the ebook, we're going to talk about distinguishing from your anxiety and your intuition. We're going to be talking about some psychic exercises that you can do to practice divination and tap in, to your intuition on a different level. We're going to be talking about what intuition is and how to get into it, why it's important to make those connections, some things to remember, just all things intuition basically, and reconnecting with that intuition and reconnecting that voice. I have the link, of course, down below in the description box for you guys to get it. You guys can also check it out on my Instagram, and I'll probably have the post in like my community thing, so you guys can check it out as well. But I am super excited about bringing ebooks to you guys because I love them. But of course, I'm super excited about you guys getting into the tea. So yes, make sure you guys check that out so you can get into it. And as soon as you purchase, you'll get the email with the PDF file so you can download it and have it. So yes, guys, make sure you guys check out my ebook all about reconnecting your intuition. I'm so excited to see what other ebooks I do. If you guys have some suggestions, let me know in the comments and I might end up, tapping into your topic. But yes, let's go ahead and get into this video and talk about anxiety and intuition. How the fuck do we tell the difference? Let's go ahead and get into it. So first things first, guys, your mind is a very big and vast place, and there are always all different types of thoughts running through your mind. Good thoughts, bad thoughts, high vibrational, low vibrational, happy, sad, stressed, calm. All the time, you're always thinking of a million different things. So the first thing that we need to realize when we're talking about separating or being able to differentiate between your anxiety and your intuition, we have to be able to kind of file out the thoughts in our mind and just understand which thoughts mean what. A lot of times we can have so much going on, we don't even know where the first thing is to begin. So I would definitely recommend meditating, finding things that you can do to clear your mind. That's going to be the first thing to get started so you can sort through the thoughts. Because when we're talking about making the difference between anxiety and intuition, it's all about finding the root of the thought, analyzing the thought, feeling out how the thought makes you feel, feeling out what energies it brings to you, figuring out where the thought came from. That's really all it's about. And it's almost impossible to do that if we're already very stressed, very overwhelmed, we're already thinking about a million and one things. So the first step is always going to be meditation. We talk about stillness in the ebook. So yeah, meditation is important. Mindfulness is important. Just taking some time to kind of close out everything that's going around and really focus in on, what you want to think about, what you want to receive intuitive messages on. You also can get intuitive messages about anything. You know what I'm saying? So you can have intuitive messages about your past, your present, your future, past lives, ancestral stuff. It literally can be anything. So your intuition comes in many different shapes and forms. So I think being specific really helps as well, because you can specifically set the intention to have intuitive messages in regards to what you should do with your relationship, what you should do with your friendship, what you should do with this career, what you should do with your new home. You want to buy a new home, you're not sure. You think you're ready to get engaged, but you're not sure. You want to go to your intuition specifically, and that'll help you even better to narrow down, is it anxiety or is it intuition? But of course, you want to get in the habit of clearing your mind. And again, we know meditation is anything. I have a video about meditation for beginners if you need to check that out. But meditation can be anything. If you need to start dancing, if you need to start playing sound bowls, if you need to start eating better, if you need to get away from toxic relationships, whatever you need to do, the first step to realizing and hearing your intuition for what it is to remove yourself from spaces that do not serve you. Remove yourself from spaces that clog your mind and stress you out. That's literally going to be the first thing that you want to do. After you've practiced stillness, after you've been able to kind of pinpoint the voice of your intuition, because intuitive messages have a different feeling. That's why it's so important to think about when you think a thought, how do you feel along with that thought? Let's say, for example, you're going on a first date and you feel super nervous about this first date. So nervous to where you're like, I don't even want to go anymore. If you trace that thought back to, I don't like my outfit. I don't think I'm going to look good. I don't think this person is going to like me. It's been a while since I've gone out. I don't even think I'm going to, you know, be able to enjoy myself. You're feeling worse and worse and worse as you think about that thought. The more and more you focus on that and think about that, it's making you feel more and more sad and more helpless and more stressed out and more overwhelmed. Whereas if you were having a thought of, I don't want to go on this first date because the weather's really bad. I have an exam early in the morning. As you think of those things that are rooted in, you know, being grounded, those things that are rooted in real life things that could, you know, be affected. Whenever we have thoughts that are based in confidence, that are based in our well-being, that is based in us, you know, serving our greatest good and doing what needs to serve us. Those thoughts, as we think more and more on those things, we're going to get more and more secure. We're going to feel more and more confident about our decision. It's going to start making more and more sense to us as we think about it and focus on it more. So whenever you have a thought and you're trying to decide, is it anxiety or is it intuition? You want to start breaking that thought down. Sit on that thought. Think about that more. Don't just run away because we're like, I don't want to go on the date. Girl, what I'm thinking, let me just get it together and go. It's like, no, figure out where that thought is coming from. Think about why you feel that way. I remember when I worked at Hooters out here in Dallas, it was a hot mess. And I have talked before on here. I have a story time about me working at Hooters, old ass video on here still. But I definitely did not feel like it was a job for me. The managers were rude. I didn't really like the girls. I wasn't really getting paid the money that I was supposed to be getting paid. I just really didn't like it. There were so many concrete reasons as to why I didn't need to do it. It was nothing about me being nervous. It was nothing about me just wanting to stay at home. It was nothing about me being lazy. It was nothing about me being afraid. I don't know if I'm gonna make enough money. Everything that was telling me to not work there was backed up by hard, cold facts. And even if it wasn't a fact, it was something that I felt comfortable in. The thought gave me security. That's another thing too. Your intuition isn't always going to make sense, but if you find security in that thought, if there isn't any negative energies attached to it, then we know it's something from our intuition. We know it's a sign. We know we need to follow that. But because I wasn't that confident in my intuition at the time, I had a homegirl that was telling me, you know, to keep going back to Hooters and to keep working there. And, oh, I'm being crazy. Let me keep working. And literally, I hated it. Like, I literally hated it every single day until one day I just did not go and I was like, that's just it. I'm done. So sometimes we let other people's opinions make us stick to something when we know good and well we should have been let it go. We let other people's opinions make us shy away from something. If we really want to do it and they don't believe in us, we can kind of shy away from that. So going back to center and being grounded is definitely going to be key as well. Spending a lot of time connecting with you and finding your voice and being confident in that voice. But like I was talking about, I feel like I'm rambling here, but again, I always feel like I'm rambling and y'all always are like, it's fabulous, it's great. So I'll just keep going. But again, you want to make sure that you pay attention to the feelings that you get from those thoughts. Anxious thoughts, thoughts that are rooted in your anxiety, rooted in fear, rooted in stress, rooted in thoughts of lack and thoughts of self-doubt. It's going to make you feel like shit. It's going to make you feel more and more horrible, more and more fucked up, you know, more and more sad, more and more down. It's going to make you feel more and more negative. But when you focus on intuitive thoughts and you break those thoughts down, even if it doesn't make sense, it will make sense to your energy. You'll feel good. You'll start to calm down. You'll start to calm down. It'll just, you know, make you feel secure whenever you listen to that voice more and more. Now, of course, whenever we get more and more acquainted with our intuition, it's able to kind of hit us a little bit harder. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say, for example, you got somebody that's always giving you advice, you know, and their advice isn't really that good. When they give you advice, you're not really gonna be listening. But if you got somebody else that gives you advice and that advice be on point, you are always going to be tapped into the advice that that person is giving you. So that's kind of how it is with your intuition. Your intuition is always right, but you might not know that yet. You know, if you've been battling intuition, anxiety. So it starts off with just trusting your intuition little by little and seeing, wow, my intuition knows what it's talking about. My intuition is on point. My intuition is divinely guided. I'm getting these messages. It is on point. It is exactly what I need to hear right now. As you believe that more and more and you connect with that more and more, it makes sense to you, so you don't question it with all of the, is it stress? Is it this? You'll be able to feel more confident in what you're saying. You'll be able to feel more confident in what you're feeling. And as soon as you tap in with those energies, you're like, oh my God, okay, this is great. I'm exactly in the space that I need to be in. I feel good about this. So the biggest thing really is the root of the thought, figuring out where the thought has come from. Like for me, it's difficult for me to make friends. So let's say, for example, you know, I go and try to meet somebody and instantly I'm nervous, I'm not feeling good, I'm feeling all queasy, and I'm like, is it because this isn't a good person, or is this because I haven't been out to try to meet anybody new in years? Has it been because I haven't tried to meet a new friend in forever? Has it been because I really haven't even been out in the pandemic at all? Is that why I'm feeling nervous, or is it something else? If we don't have those conversations with ourselves, we'll still be asking, is it anxiety or is it intuition? When it's really just about having that conversation with yourself, getting to the root of that thought and holding on to that and trusting that and believing in you. A lot of times we don't really believe the things that our mind is telling us. Our mind might tell us one thing and we're like, no, this ain't right, this ain't right, this ain't right. But what is right? If you aren't, you know, everything that works for everybody is not going to work for you. So if you see everybody going to a certain party or taking a certain job or going to a certain school and you feel like, I should want to do this, or why don't I want to do this? Why does this feel right for me? Let me ignore my intuition and do what everybody else is doing, because this must be right. This is what everybody is saying. What everybody does is not always going to work for you. How people connect with their intuition isn't always going to work for you. How people meditate isn't always going to work for you. The things that people flock to and the things that like lift them up are not always going to lift you up. Life is different for all of us, and we all connect with our intuition differently and hear our intuition differently. So you have to start building that relationship with your intuition. You have to start trusting that you know what's right for you, not what everybody else is saying. How do you feel? How is it making you feel? Also, I think a kind of cheat code way to tell anxiety or intuition is think about the end goal. If you know that you really, really need to get this job so you can move, and if everything's telling you to not get that job, go back to the goal. Why did I want to do this in the first place? This situation is causing me a lot of anxiety, a lot of confusion. Why did I even want to go for this in the first place? Is this really going to align with my goals? Is this really going to give me what I need? Because a lot of times we're feeling so many thoughts because we're doing something that maybe we don't need to do. We're doing something that's going to take us maybe around the corner and around the back way when there's really a straight arrow way for us to go after something. So a lot of times, you know, our intuition can kind of be in the form of a lot of confusion or just not really feeling like we're right. Like for me, I always know it's time to take a break when I'm feeling really, really overwhelmed, really stressed out. It's like I could spend that time figuring, why am I so stressed? Why am I so stressed? Or I can just say, I'm stressed, let me take a break, and just take the break and give my mind some clarity. Again, like I was saying, your intuition can show you many things in many different ways, your emotions, how your energy changes. So if you always think of a certain something and you get stressed, you start feeling claustrophobic, you start feeling, you know, really stressed out. Of course, that's something we want to look into. We want to figure out why we're feeling that way. If we always talk to a certain friend and we start to feel weird, you know, sometimes your intuition isn't going to be a statement. It's not going to be a download vision that's going to show you everything. Sometimes it's just a feeling. Sometimes it's just a little nudge to do something or try something. So you really want to spend that time connecting with you so you can tap into those cues, and so you can know this is something intuitive or this is something that's happening because I'm really stressed out. Also, get in touch with your energy as a whole. Whenever you sit down to connect intuitively, have purpose. Be specific and make sure that your energy is in a good space. Don't sit down to read tarot readings when you've been stressed all fucking week and you sit down, you're like, let me get some clarity, and you haven't even cleared your mind first. The messages are not going to make sense. You know, we want to make sure when we try to decipher messages, we're doing it from a space of clarity. We also have some tea about deciphering messages in the ebook as well. That's something that's just as important as tapping into your intuition, because you have to understand what your intuition means. And it can literally mean a little bit of everything. You know, everybody's intuition is going to connect with them in a different way. So we also want to make sure that we are allowing ourselves to believe a little bit of everything and understand that our intuition can be showing us something from our past, something that's ancestral, something that isn't going to make sense to us for the next, 6 months. And then it's going to become clear to us. We don't really know how these messages are going to break down. So we definitely want to get everything out of our head where we think my intuition is supposed to look like this and feel like this. We don't know how it's going to hit us. And we don't know what messages we're going to get when. So again, be specific, set that intention. You know, when you sit down to meditate, think about what you want to figure out, what's next for you in career, because you know you want to do this job, you're not sure. Have those conversations with yourself. Be vocal with yourself about the things that you want. And I feel like that can be helpful as well. Sometimes we just need to open up the floodgate of journaling a little bit about something. You know, I've talked to so many people that say they sat down to do a journal prompt or to do a releasing ritual and ended up writing stuff that they didn't even know they were thinking about. They didn't even know that they were, struggling with. It's the same thing, with verbally expressing yourself. You sit and you have a conversation with yourself and you end up saying stuff that you didn't even know you was feeling, crying about stuff you thought you was done with. Like connecting with yourself is really going to be key as well. The more we know ourselves in and out, the more we're going to be able to understand our intuition. because your intuition is so uniquely you know what I'm saying? So you definitely want to get in the habit of using your intuition all of the time. Definitely, again, practicing stillness, practicing meditation, and thinking about things and figuring out where is this thought coming from? Does this thought make me feel good? Does it make me feel bad? Does it make me feel triggered from something in my past? What emotions, what energies, what frequencies are attached to this thought that I am having? And really having those conversations with yourself. You can write it down if you want to. You can just keep it up here because this is where your intuition is anyway. So if you want to keep everything up here, you can keep everything in your mind. And, you know, just really sit, you know, in stillness and have conversations with yourself and think about what you're doing, where you're going, and how you are maneuvering. And also find some things that are going to be calming your anxiety. You know, if you're someone that deals with a lot of anxiety in school, a lot of anxiety in career, a lot of anxiety just in your everyday life, there are triggers everywhere for you. Really find some things that make you feel good. If you need yoga, if you need more time in nature, if you need to go to therapy, if you need to get on medication, if you need to start taking a vitamin, a supplement, whatever you need to do to start healing your mind and healing your brain and restoring the balance, you definitely want to tap in. Your intrusive thoughts are always going to be there. And the intrusive thoughts, of course, are the ones that are coming from, you know, the anxiety bug that lives in our head. So those thoughts are never going to go away. But when we are familiar with the thought of that, when we're familiar with that feeling and that energy, when it comes up, we can easily say, oh, I know this is just my anxiety. I know this is just stress. That's how I feel now. I feel like my intuition now is such a strong, secure, stable voice and message. And I feel like that's the same thing for all of us across the board. Literally, after a few weeks of tapping into your intuition, you'll be able to know. My intuition, without a doubt, taps in first. Like, your intuition is literally what comes to your mind first. Before you have the chance to be like, is this right? Or does this make sense? Your intuition is what you get first. So whenever we start to listen to our intuition, that voice gets stronger. We're able to connect with that voice more. And there's a more contrast between our intuition and our anxiety, because we might be in a space where those voices sound the same. They make us feel the same. All we feel is stress. All we feel is confusion. All we feel is this haze of, I don't really know what it is. But that's why we take the time to clear our mind, raise our vibration, listen to sound bowls, spend time in nature, eat good food, laugh, enjoy life. Because if we are not joyful, if we are not happy, then we cannot connect with that divine energy that is our intuition. We cannot connect with that divine compass that really is a cheat code to give us all of the tea and all the cues and all the nudges into where we need to go. So we really want to make sure that we are making ourselves feel good, that we are clearing our minds, and that we're specifically setting intention to see angel numbers about a certain something, or see some animal medicine about a certain something. I want to have a dream that's going to let me know what to do in this certain situation. When I wake up, I want to have clarity. Like, we want to ask the universe for clarity. Like, pray. Like, whenever you guys pray or do petition work or talk to the universe, whatever you want to call it, talking to God, talking to your ancestors, ask for clarity. Whenever you sit down and read your tarot cards, or you sit down and you practice your divination, or you just don't know what to do, and you're like, what is next for me? What am I supposed to do? Ask for clarity, ask for understanding, ask to understand and know the things that are going to serve your greatest good. I don't know what to do right now. I need clarity here. I need understanding. I need to know what I need to so I can make the best choice for me. You know, get specific and figure out what you want your intuition to do for you and how you want these energies to lead you and guide you and kind of lighten your path. We always have a connection with our intuition. It's always been there. So in my ebook, I described it as kind of reconnecting with an old friend. You know, this is something that's always been there. It's never going to go anywhere. It's always going to be right there for you. You know what I'm saying? So this is about you getting back acquainted with that energy and getting back familiar with it. So it's really a lot easier, you know, than we think. But throughout life, we add in so much anxiety and so many stress and so much triggers to where it's kind of like, oh my God, I don't even know which voice is my intuition and which voice is who and what and where. So it's a process. But of course, you want to make sure to love yourself in that process, be kind to yourself in that process, and just remember that everybody is different. So the ways that you get peace, the ways that you find understanding, everybody else may not, but that's okay. It's about you. And your first mind is never going to steer you wrong. Your first mind is always geared to lead you towards your destiny, towards your fate, towards a place where you will be the happiest. And that journey is one of the hardest journeys. If you want to be the happiest at the finish line, it is the hardest way to get there. So we want to be mindful of that as well and be accepting of all of the things that we see and understand. You might have an intuitive message straight from God that stresses you the fuck out, that makes you not want to eat for a week, that stresses you out. You know, we also want to make sure that we're able to handle the messages that we get as well. So I feel if we do everything together as a unit, if we're monitoring our energy, protecting our energy, clearing our mind, doing things that make us happy, connected with our intuition, everything will work together and we'll be able to connect in a beautiful way. Don't think you're going to be able to tap into your intuition if you haven't done any cleansing work. You know, if you still got a lot of stress in your mind, if you still holding on to stuff from last week, you really want to approach this journey of reconnecting with your intuition with a light heart, you know, and with joy and with excitement and with good optimism for the future. We want to see how our intuition is going to be serving us in the future and be excited to get into that space. So yes, guys, throughout this video, I've definitely felt like I should have had some notes, but I hope it made sense. I always feel like I kind of get better videos when I just talk to y'all and I don't try to, you know, stay on too much of a schedule. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I hope it gave you some tea. Please check out my ebooks, y'all. I think y'all are going to be obsessed with it. I am obsessed with it. So yeah, I love you guys as always, and I will see you guys later. And I hope everybody has a great, awesome day. So yeah, bye guys, bless.